Uh, why Illumination? Why would you make this movie? Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Studios here, and I'm here today to do a rant on Minions. So Minions came out in the year 2015 and it's the fifth installment in it's the fifth Illumination movie and the Despicable Me prequel slash spin-off and is directed by Kyle Balda and Pierre Coffin and stars Sandra Bullock, John Hamm, Michael Keaton, Alison Janney, Steve Coogan, Jennifer Saunders, Jeffrey Rush, and the special appearance from Steve Carell. So basically, the plot for Minions, it tells the story of these minions who pretty much came from pre-civilization and are looking for masters. They've been doing it for many years, but then at some point they gave up they gave up and then Kevin apparently had an idea to go to keep looking, taking Stuart and Bob along with him, and they end up in New York City, and then they look for masters, and they go around, and then they find villain called in Orlando where they get to have Scar Overkill as a henchman, but Scar Overkill hates them for I don't know whatever reason, because Bob wore a girl, I guess, and then Scarlet Overkill must, yeah, whatever. And then they find Groot in the end, yeah. So, yeah. Where do I get start with this? So, yeah, just for an intro, I remember back then, I'll admit, I used to like this movie back then because I actually didn't really realize that Illumination was a bad studio, so I still kind of enjoyed the films. It wasn't until 2017 where I realized that Illumination, how do I say this, that Illumination is actually a bad studio who aren't even trying anymore. Yes, with Despicable Me 3, I always liked these movies, but then like I always thought there was something was wrong. I thought that this thing was absolutely mid coming out of it, but I got some more about it in the review. So yeah, I just want to start us off by saying from here on out until for the rest of the Illumination marathon leading up to the Super Mario Bros. Movie, all the Illumination movies are going to be rants because honestly, I don't like a single Illuminate. I hate all the Illumination movies after Despicable Me 2 and before the Mario movie. Thankfully, the Mario movie is pretty much the first time Illumination has put effort since Despicable Me 2. And that's probably the best effort they put, but now I'm gonna have to suffer through Illumination's downfall where they just stopped trying and they thought that they would like make a lot of bank with all the effortless movies. They don't need to try because Illumination has literally become the most successful animated studio of all time. Well, one of them, and it's kind of sad that Illumination is this successful. Like they will keep making like so much money at the box office when they don't deserve it. And yeah, yeah, and I can totally see why the critics slammed this movie. I was really surprised back then when I saw that this movie got a low score on Rotten Tomatoes, a Rotten score. I was shocked because I didn't think I thought the critics would like it, but I gotta say, thank God that critics actually slammed this one. Yeah, thank God that critics knew that this movie was a disaster. Yeah, they knew how horrible this movie was, how much of a total cash grab this movie was. But yeah, it was 2017 when I actually started hating this film, and it has not grown on me ever since. Yeah, in fact, the more I think about it, I hate this movie more and more and more and more. And honestly, I'm gonna say this right now. This is the worst anime movie in 2015. It is certainly worse than Home, which I still dislike Home, but Home is better than this one. And it's even worse than Strange Magic. Yeah, Strange Magic, you know that George Lucas movie he wanted to make for girls? But, yeah, yeah, unfortunately, yeah. You know what's bad, but this is worse than Strange Magic. Well, Illumination made a movie worse than Strange Magic. Is this the worst movie in 2015? I would say it is easily my top three, but I'd say Fifty Shades of Grey and Fan Stick are worse than this. So, well, at least I'm admitting that I don't think this is worse than any of these two movies. But yeah, Minions is still an absolute train wreck, and it is one of the worst Illumination movies. I actually now prefer this over Lorax and Hop because at least this gave me less extreme feelings. That I mean, Hop and Lorax and especially Sing 2 gave me really extremely but like negative feelings about it. Like especially about how bad they are. Um, Minions is basically just nothing. Yeah, this movie is nothing. In fact, this movie should have never been made in the first place. Why did they make this movie? Oh, I don't know. Well, money. Yep. This movie is literally the definition of a cash grab. Yeah, I have never seen more of a cash grab than this. This movie literally solidifies modern Hollywood running out of ideas and making movies just for the sake of money. Now I understand if I know that movies are meant to be made just for money, but when you put more effort into desperately trying to make money than putting effort, then you know it's bad. I mean, where do I even start with this? Yeah, so yeah, are there any positives? Are there any positives of this movie? Well, I like the scene when the minions get tortured and strangled, but no, not really strangled, but they were about to get strangled, even though they didn't. So I like that scene. Yeah, that was the only good scene in the movie, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, now let's get to everything that pissed me off about this. Yeah, this movie made me feel nothing. Yeah, I know why, because it's literally just a movie about minions. This is a story that shouldn't have been told. You know how what the minion or origin story should have been? How about how Gru like create the minions? Like Gru and Dr. Fario pretty much making the minions like because Gru like didn't really know any henchmen. He did like tons of henchmen, so he just created minions. That's pretty much like a much better concept of these miniature stories. That Gru has always been a master because Gru and Dr. Rafael were the ones who made the minions. Oh, but no! Instead, we needed to have the minions like serve a different master. I think it's pretty obvious that these writers just didn't really know what they could have like came up with until like last minute, like, oh no, how about let's make it serve a different master who is bad and who actually hates the minions. So Gru just comes in the end. Yeah. Yeah, this movie is just one big commercial of minions. You can clearly tell that they had no idea what to do with the story. When there's literally no story, it's just minions. That's the story. Minions being minions. That's literally all that happens. Yes, there are things that happens. They steal the Queen of England's crown. But like there's so many things that don't make sense. I think the real reason why I think this movie should have never been made is because of the material. Who thought that a Minions movie would have been a good idea? It's not. Because Minions are really meant to be side characters. They're henchmen. Like how and what's worse is that these minions you can't connect with them for two major reasons. One, they don't speak English. They speak gibberish, and most of the time you see them talking in gibberish. Well, of course, at least they needed to hire a narrator to talk down its audience. Like as if these audiences are figuring, like these audiences can't even figure out what is going on in this movie. Well, you could have like had this at least be a silent film, well, with a bunch of gibberish, and I mean, it wouldn't have been a bad thing. I mean, look at Shang-Chi in the movie. Yeah, honestly, guys, I'm not really a fan of anime movies in 2015. I thought it was such a lackluster year, despite films like Inside Out, Peanuts, and Anomalies. Shang-Chi movie is actually my favorite movie in 2015. I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I don't hear anyone else saying Shang-Chi movie is their favorite anime film of 2015. What makes Shang-Chi work is that it's a silent film that's able to tell a story that actually makes the audiences invested. It actually like makes the audience know what's going on because there's no dialogue, so it makes the audience actually figure out what is going on by themselves without having any exposition. There is no narrator. I mean, if the Shang-Chi movie had a narrator, that movie would have that movie would have been kind of ruined because there got some the audiences would have been talked down on, but no, the audiences actually. I mean, they felt like audiences are trying to figure out what is going on. That is exactly how you tell a story. You make the audiences figure out what is going on, not like tell the like tell. Yeah, there's. I'm sure you all know about the show and tell rule. Minions is Shaun the Sheep movie done wrong. Like, I mean the humans do talk, but I mean the minions don't speak English, like I said, so you can't really connect with them unless if well, you really can connect with them because I mean they couldn't even like think of a story to tell with these minions, the minions and the lead, because they cannot be lead characters. That is just wrong, and the second reason why I think these minions are what I mean, you can actually, damn, I actually forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I know it's something, but I literally forgot how. I mean, I know they don't speak English. Oh yeah, now I remembered. Like, their personalities are so vanilla, and not to mention these minions. They do the same thing. The only difference that they have different sizes. Some of them would have they would have either two eyes or one eye, and that's pretty much it. That's the problem. You can't really tell which minion is which. I mean, yeah, sure, Kevin Stewart and Bob. You can clearly get their name, get the gist of their names because they're Kevin Stewart and Bob. You can clearly understand. You can clearly like, get that. But there's like so many minions with like no personality, so you can't even tell which who are who. Again, with not allowing the audiences to connect with them. So yeah, that's a major problem. So you really couldn't have made this movie. I mean, there are so much ideas you could have done. I mean, like I know I said this in my Despicable Me 2 review. Why not make an evil minion movie? That would have been awesome. And also they should. I mean, I also mentioned my Despicable Me 2 review. They should have made an El Macho El Macho prequel slash spin off. That would be a great idea. And also, I should have mentioned this in my Despicable Me 2 review, but they should have done a Lucy spin off. Like, how Lucy joined the AVL when she was like a lot younger, like I guess maybe in her 20s or something. When she first got hired and her initiates. Like, a Lucy spin off would have been awesome. But no, instead they did the Minions because they know this movie would make $1 billion. And yeah, this is the highest grossing Illumination movie. Mario, please top dethrone this as the highest grossing Illumination movie. And speaking of Lucy, literally, this movie literally has forced in Easter eggs of this Easter eggs in this Despicable Movie franchise. There's this store in New York where Kevin Stewart and Bob go to, and in that store you can see a hidden Lucy statue. Yep, like really, guy. Like, first of all, Lucy is just a kid. Why would you already like predict that? How? I mean, but like they decided to use an adult Lucy as a statue, even if Lucy was just a kid at that time. Like, I mean, that is kind of dumb. Like, and it's so obvious that this is just This is just pandering this, this is just pandering to the fans of Despicable Me. Oh yeah, and also Gru was in Villain Con. I actually never noticed Gru was in Con until this rewatch. Yeah, because I do pay attention to the details. Unlike last time I rewatched it, I don't really pay attention to the details, so I wouldn't really see any Easter eggs and stuff. Any of these two stuff I mentioned, and yeah, also the minions are annoying as always. Like Kevin Stewart and Bob has such vanilla personalities, just like the other minions. Kevin is a leader. Stewart likes music, and Bob is a kid, so he likes animals and toys. And all the minions likes bananas because they saw banana in their Asian civilization, so they all that's why they became their favorite food, and it has the same color as them. Why? Yeah. Yeah, I can see it's really hard to give the minions character development. Because yeah, it's really hard to give the minions some character development because they're minions. They don't. I mean, they don't do personality. So yeah, what's the point of this movie? Okay, well, let's talk about the human characters. How are the human characters in this movie? They're all. I mean, I don't hate any human characters. I mean, they're better than minions, but I still hate them. Yeah. Let's start first with the quote unquote main character of this movie, Scarlet Overkill. Now, I will say this. I actually would have liked Scarlet Overkill. She would have been a good villain, like a solid villain. But here's the problem. her reason for like turning to a villain, like again turning against the minions is so like one dimensional. Basically, Scarlet Overkill hates the minions because they because Bob became Queen of England when it was supposed to be Scarlet Overkill. That's understandable. But then but then when Bob literally made Scarlet Overkill the Queen of England, and then I thought Scarlet Overkill would be grateful, but no, they still like hate the minions. They trap them in the dungeon. And yeah, like literally Scarlet Overkill has such a vanilla personality, just like the minions. She's just basically Gru 2.0. And yeah, Scarlet Overkill is pretty much one thing that makes villain pointless because that makes this movie pointless. This entire movie pointless because Scarlet Overkill is just Gru 2.0. The only difference is that Gru the only difference is that Gru Gru cares about the minions and treats them like family, but Scarlet Overkill kind of treats them like just she treats them like garbage, and that's pretty much what makes it pointless because they keep finding bosses, and then they find a boss they thought they would like, but then she goes bad. They should have just had Gru ASAP, or like what I said earlier in the video, in the review, have Gru make the minions. It's not that hard, but no, we need money, so they need a story to come up with, so that they can be able to make this minion movie. When realistically, there's no story at all. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, what else am I missing? Oh yeah, also like Herb Overkill is so boring. Like he's the most boring. Like John Hamm is in this movie. What are you doing? You were the Buddy and Baby Driver. Like, or well, thankfully Baby Driver came after this one, so that's kind of a good thing. But also the Nelson family is useless. Like at least they get to like drive into Orlando, but like I don't like his family. They're creepy. I mean there's this like guy one there's this guy who's just gross, and like he spits out saliva in this. He has saliva come out. And yeah. Also, by the way, Michael Keaton, what are you doing in this movie? You were Batman. You were Birdman. Yeah. Come on, Michael Keaton. You could have done better than being this worthless cash grab of a movie. Yeah. The humor sucks. Yeah, the humor is just a bunch of toilet humor, bunch of just minions hitting each other and doing stupid things. There's like a bunch of like scenes with minions dancing and singing, which is just so cringe. And literally, there's a scene where Bob literally adopts a rat as his pet for 2 minutes in the movie. Bro, rats are poisonous and dangerous. Like you can't you could have gotten poisoned yourself by a rat, but no, they're stupid. Of course, they don't know anything. And the whole King Bob thing was so stupid. Like, why would you make a minion the king just because he pulled the sword out of the stone? I mean, that's understandable, but just because he pulled the sword out of the stone doesn't mean he can be king. And also, yeah. Oh, yeah. But you want to know what is the worst scene in the movie? The worst scene? Like, the scene that really made me pissed off? Excuse me. There's a scene where Stuart, excuse me, sorry. There's a scene where Stuart is given a hypnotizing gadget, and he uses it on a bunch of guards, and to make the guards sing and dance. Like literally, they become naked and their hairs become long, and then they slap each other's butts, and then they were like watching. Like that was so dumb. And also there's a scene where the minions literally there's a scene where the minions literally laugh at the blind man. I gotta say that is so mean spirited. Laughing at someone who's blind, that is mean spirited. Yeah, shame on you minions for poking fun of a blind man. And also I was not I didn't laugh at a single joke. No surprise, I didn't laugh at them because they're all so unfunny and cringe-worthy. Also, the action scene sucks. No doubt about it. And then the ending of the film, where like basically Gru shows up. I bet they only did that just to make the audience cheer that. Well, of course that was kind of necessary because that's how the minions found Gru. But maybe here's how this movie could have been a bit more tolerable. I mean, either way, you can't make a Minions movie good because this is a movie that shouldn't really be made. Made for nothing else, no other purpose but money. The Minions should have had how do I say it's the minions pretty much just like was looking for a master, and then basically they, instead of having Scarlet Overkill, they could have found young Groot already, and then like have the minions rescue Groot subplot, and that could have been a bit better, but it was still suck because again you can't make a good movie out of minions. So yeah. So overall, Minions is the definition of a cash grab. This is seriously one of Illumination's worst movies, easily in my top five. Be thankful this isn't the worst Illumination movie, but it's still like a movie that should have never been made because this is like how to make a bad movie idea. Yeah, this was a bad idea in the first place, and this is how Illumination should have. This is how Illumination just went. This sunk all the way down, and they wouldn't like get back up until Mario comes out. So yeah, yeah. I don't know what to say. This movie is pretty much just nothing. This movie is a waste of time. The writers literally waste. The filmmakers literally, no offense to the filmmakers, but they literally just wasted their time. I mean, why not just make Despicable Me 3 in 2015? Oh yeah, but Despicable Me 3 was garbage. But at least it's more necessary than Minions, I guess. Uh, I mean, it's more necessary. So I maybe have Despicable Me 3 instead. So yeah. So yeah, Minions obviously gets a 1 out of 10. What else is there to say? So also for my rant on Minions, what is your opinion on this movie? Do you agree with me that this movie is a cash grab, or yeah? Do you agree with me that this movie is a cash grab, or do you defend this movie? Because I know this movie has some defenders. Please don't bash my opinion on it. I'm just giving out my opinion. And at least I didn't rage as hard at this movie as I did with the Lorax and the Hop. So yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for another Illumination rant, which is the secret life of pets. So yeah, bye guys.